Okay, welcome to week 3. Little did I know that I'd make it past the first video when I started this series. But yes, here I am on week 3, and hopefully I shall continue to produce these videos every week. So let us begin. As always, take a comfortable seat. Bring the fingertips alongside your body. Press your fingertips on the surface that you're seated on. Lift the sides of the chest. Take your outer shoulders back. Bring your elbows a little bit closer. Move the back of the body in. Look straight, keeping the front of the throat relaxed and soft. Then slowly bring the palms of the hand. Let it rest at the center of your chest. And close your eyes, dropping your attention right at the center of the chest, feeling the palms of the hand resting against each other, the thumb resting on your sternum. Become aware of the natural flow of breath. And again, if you wish to join in, you may join in the invocation or simply stay silent or even skip to the next section where the sequence begins. So let's take a deep, slow, long inhale. Yogena citasya padena vacham malam sharirasya chavaidakenam yopakarotam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankachakra siddharinam Sahasra shirasam shvetam pranamami patanjalim harihi om. Now take another deep, slow, long inhale and exhale. Gently lower your hands down, placing them back on your legs. Begin to open your eyes and then lift your head up. Okay, so we will start just as always in Samasthiti. So you can move any other prop away. Stand on the center of your mat. Bring your big toes close together. Shift your weight to the heels. Take your attention to the outer shins, drawing them closer. Your outer thighs, bringing them closer. Moving the front of the thighs back, buttocks in. Roll the outer shoulders back, stretch from the top of the shoulders to the elbows, and look straight. Take a couple of breaths, feeling the weight of your body evenly on the feet. In fact, right now we are standing in Samasthiti where the weight of our body is distributed evenly. Today we will begin with a few of our balancing poses where we will learn to shift the weight to the right or the left. But for now, press the heels, spread the toes, and evenly press down through the feet. Now to give a bit of an opening and extension of the spine, let's start with Baddhanguliyasana. So once more, stretch your hands straight in front of you. Take your right thumb on top of the left. Good clasp of the fingers. Turning the palms out, keeping the thumbs connected. Stretch the upper arms with an inhalation. Go ahead and stretch your arms up. Again, focus your attention to keep your elbows in. They do tend to go out. Use the upper arm to lift the sides of the chest up. Shift your attention to the heels again. Weight of the body stays on the heels. Turn the palms up more towards the ceiling and the little finger side down more towards the floor. Look straight. Now slowly release, bring your hands down and change. So take your left thumb on top. Again, interlace the hands, turn the palms out, keeping the clasp of the fingers tight. Straighten your upper arms, touch the thumbs, maintain the length of your upper arms as you lift and stretch your arms up. Focus your attention on stretching the whole sides of the body up with the help of the upper arms. See if you can work your upper arms behind your ears. At the same time, stay on your heels without letting the hip come forward or the abdomen come forward. The front of the body goes to the back of the body. Lift up, stretch up. Now slowly release and bring your hands down. So as I said, we are going to start with Vrksasana, or often known as tree pose. Let's just do the pose to begin with. So place your hands on your hips, lift your right leg up, turn the knee out, place the foot, the whole sole of your foot, any part of your inner thigh. Then placing your hands on your hips, press the bottom of the right foot against the left inner thigh, press them against each other, and stretch your arms straight in front of you. And with an inhalation, go ahead and stretch your arms up. Keep the weight of the body more on the heels. You'll find it's very easy to go to the toes, but can you move the weight of your body to the heels and use the same action of the arms we did in the previous pose? Lift and stretch the upper arms to lengthen the spine. Look straight. Now slowly release. Bring your hands down. Bring your foot down. Once more. Come back to Uttanasana. Come back to Samasthiti. Shoulders back, elbows straight, looking forward. Vrksasana on the left side. So same way, lift your left leg up, turn the foot, place the foot against your right inner thigh, and keep the bottom of your foot, the sole of your foot pressing against the right inner thigh, kind of sandwiching both together. So I can go once to the right or the left, or instead I can push equally and start to lift your pelvis up. Keep this compactness of the hips. Stretch your arms. Imagine you're squeezing a block, so it gives your upper arms a bit more strength. It also helps to keep our torso from swinging us offline. So use the upper arms, lift the chest, lift the side chest, and press the foot into your right inner thigh. Look straight. Now slowly release and bring your hand down, bring your foot down. Now I'm guessing it's not that easy, yes? So perhaps it is easy to be on one side, or you found not so easy to stay in balance. Well, we are going to practice this in two other ways. So I'm sure if you're practicing at home, you have a wall, and it's often a very good thing to actually work with a wall because it helps us to understand and force parts of our body which are not so stable or strong. Like I might find it very easy to stand on one leg and the other leg I keep falling off. So the wall teaches the weaker side to get stronger. So I'm going to take myself right to the wall and I'm going to take a moment just to stand. So how are we going to stand? We're going to keep our feet a little bit away from the wall. Keep your head, your shoulders, your buttocks touching the wall. That way, you know that you're kind of relying on the wall for your balance. Now lift your right leg up. So same way, lift the right foot up. Now because you have the wall as your reference point, you know if you can move your shoulder back, your hip back, and press the foot. Let's reach our arms straight forward. And as you reach your arms, take your arms up, touch the thumb against the wall. And the same way, we might find ourselves moving in all kinds of ways. So this way, when you press the fingers into the wall, you can use that touch. Just the thumbs are touching. It's kind of like an L shape. So I let my thumbs touch and I try to lift up, stretch up. Moving the left outer hip in, the right foot pressing, and looking straight. Now slowly bring your hands down and let's do the other side. So once more, stand with your feet together, shoulders back, elbows straight, lift your left leg up, place the left foot. And please note, usually we want to take our foot higher, and sometimes if you see how the foot is turning, and this doesn't really help us to be balanced. So if you're tighter in the hips, it is okay if you can't lift your leg up that high and it's a bit lower, but you do want your whole foot to turn so the whole bottom of the foot rests on your inner thigh. Then you can stay here, resting against the wall, so you're not really bothered about balance, but focus your attention on this standing leg. So instead of hanging out on the hips, we want to bring this outer hip in. And when our hips become more firm and stable, then the pelvis can lift, the spine can lift, and then, of course, the arms become an additional route to extending the spine. You want not to hang into the hip, but to really move that right outer hip in, shift your head back, chest back, and stretch up both sides of your spine. Now slowly release and bring your hand down, bring your leg down. Now there's another way to do the pose, yes? So there are many ways that we can actually look at the pose, and this actually helps us to get stronger in the pose. So for this, I'm just going to use this counter so it's easy for you to see. So for now, I'm not mirroring you. So let's start with the wall. So I'm starting with the wall. I have my left side touching the wall. And in terms of distance, if I stand, I want to be in such a way that I can rest my hand on the wall. I'm not leaning into the wall. I'm standing on my feet, right? Now we are going to, I'll still keep using this side so you can observe my side view. Once I place my hand on the wall, you're going to lift your right leg up and move the knee out to the side. Place the foot against the inner thigh. Now, most likely when we are tighter in the groins, the knee comes forward. So you press the foot into the thigh, work on moving this outer hip into the body, and see if you can move the knee back. But don't move the hip back. That's a big difference. So this is working from the hip, whereas if I keep my hips compact and kind of like a door hinge, you're working the mobility of your groins by moving the knee back. So this way, you can work on the additional mobility of the legs. At the same time, you're not so bothered about balance and build strength on your standing leg. Look straight. If you want, you can even stretch your arms up. You can take the other hand up as well. So you don't end up leaning into the wall. You push away from the wall, stretch up. Look straight. Also, I could be falling forward on my toes, but I'm going to really move my body weight back like a Uttanasana action, so I end up on my heels. Now release, bring your hands down, bring your foot down. Take a moment to stand, and let's turn around the other way. So once more, standing in Uttanasana. This way you can see how my thighs are forward, my waistline is forward, so I need to shift. So I move my root of the thighs back. And yes, it feels like I'm falling, so I have to move the buttocks in, see that there's a firmness in this side, and then might disturb it a little bit as I lift my left foot up and I place my foot flat on my right inner thigh. Now, of course, I want my right buttock not to drop, to go down, lifting the right hip, moving the knee back. Be on your left heel. So again, you want to see you are not falling on your right thigh. Sorry, we are using our left leg now. So you don't want to be falling forward on your right thigh. You want to move it back. You're back in Uttanasana. If you feel balanced, you can work with one arm, or you can even stretch both arms up. Your knee goes back, your hip moves forward, and you're standing steady on the standing leg. In this case, it's your right heel. Now slowly release, bring your hand down, and turn around and face forward. Okay. So that was Vrksasana, or often known as tree pose. Let's do a little bit of a review of the two poses we did last 2 weeks. That was Trikonasana and Virabhadrasana 2. So let's start with Trikonasana. We are going to do these poses a little bit quicker, not spending too much time on explanation, but more on working the pose, a bit more repetition, so we get used to and familiar with the pose. So let's begin by bringing the hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Stretch your arms out, extending the palms of the hand, extending the arms. Turn your entire right leg out to 90. Turn your left foot slightly in. We keep the arms up for the first variation, keeping the hips compact. Elongate your torso and go down. Once you're down in the pose, look straight. Use the top hand to lift the chest. See that your weight is heavy on your left heel. Now use the top arm. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Stretch your chest. Look straight. Keep your head back. Trikonasana on the left side. So turn your left leg completely out. Remember, the knee has to turn, the foot has to turn, the thigh has to turn. Turn your right toes slightly inward. Keep your right waistline back. Be heavy on the outer edge of your right heel. Pinning the outer edge of your right heel. Lengthen the left side of your torso. Extend the side of your body as you go down. Once you've got the hands resting, use the top arm to really lift the center of the chest up. Your head stays looking forward for now. And shift your body weight so you're not falling on your toes, but more on the heels. Both legs straight. Elbows straight. Now use the top arm. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Jump. Come back. Standing in Samasthiti or Uttanasana. Take a couple of recovery breaths here. Shoulders back. Lengthening from the shoulders to the elbow joint. Observing the breath. Normal soft inhale and normal soft exhale. Now, as I said, we are doing another variation. So bring your hands here, bend your knees and jump. Once more, stretching the arms out from the center. Turn your entire right leg out to 90. Turn your left toes slightly in, keeping the weight heavy. Take a deep inhale. With the exhalation, go down. Now here, we're going to take our left hand on the hip so that we can additionally work on the chest. So from your right waistline, turn to your left. From the right armpit, move up. And work on moving the left shoulder back. See how far you can take that left shoulder back. That will help you to turn your chest because it's a turning of the chest which makes you turn your head in time. Otherwise, we cause tension in our neck. So when you turn your chest, keep turning your chest, keep the weight on the heel and look up if possible. If you feel tension on your neck, you can look down at the bottom foot. Now look straight, use the top arm, inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Spread your arms out. If you ever feel tired, you can always keep your hands on the hips. Otherwise, re-engage the arms, spread from the center of the chest. I do a quick check to see my feet are in line and begin to turn the left knee, thigh, foot. Turning your right toes slightly in, keeping the weight heavy on the heels. Once more. Take a deep inhale, lengthening the whole left side of your body as you go down. Now, once more, we bring our right hand on the hip and we are working on opening the side of the chest. So the way to do that is hold and your hip and really take that right shoulder back. Bring your left side of the waistline up towards the right. So it's a rotation here and the left side of the armpit moves forward as the right shoulder goes back. So there is a mild turning of the chest, a kind of twisting, or let's just say a rotation of the chest. And the more you turn your chest, it is easier to turn your head. If you have no tension, then turn your head to look up at the ceiling. Make sure both your legs are straight. Otherwise, you can look down towards the bottom foot. Now use the top arm, inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and walk your legs back. Now the second part, the second version of the pose of Trikonasana, we really learned how much more the chest has to turn. So now let's do the full pose with the arms stretching and see if we can bring that in. Bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump. Spread your arms out from the center of the chest, elbows tight, toes pointing straight. Shift the weight to the heels. Now turn your entire right leg out to 90. Turn your left toes slightly in, hip facing forward, chest facing forward. Keeping your head back, take a deep inhale. With an exhalation, lengthening the whole right waistline. Go down till you've got your shin bone. And now when you've got the top arm, remember there's a rotation involved. So you have to turn from the right waistline to the left. Right side of the armpit to the left. And then keep turning. Bring your right shoulder blade in and forward. That helps to really lift the top chest. Now, after you've got the turning of the chest, you can look up. Gaze at your fingertips. Keep lifting the top side of your chest. Now pressing into the back leg. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Readjust your feet. Spread your chest, head back, turning to your left. So turn your entire left leg, knee, foot. Turn your right toe slightly in. Remember to keep your hips level, chest open. That is always going to be the case. So it's going to be me repeating that. But hey, that's the way the practice is. Press into the heel and then maintaining the extension because you want the sides of your spine to extend. Extend your left side long as you go down. Once you found the connection, now usually the left side of the chest is facing forward. So what did we learn? We have to turn from the left waistline. We have to bring that left shoulder blade forward so the chest turns from the left to the right. Remember how we worked on the shoulder. So there's a rotation. And then that might help you to turn your head as you reach with the top arm. So keep turning from the left side and to the right. And lift the right side of your chest with your right upper arm. Remember to keep your weight heavy on the right heel. Now with an inhalation, come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and walk your legs back. Pause, take a few breaths, normal soft inhale, and exhale. Virabhadrasana 2. Bring your hands in the center again, bend your knees, jump. Stretch your arms from the center of the chest, turning. Let's work with the hands on the hip. So remember, we worked with the hands on the hip. So turn your right knee, right thigh, right foot. Turn your left toe slightly in, keeping your hips level. Virabhadrasana 2 with the hands on the hip. Pressing into the back leg, bend your front leg. You want to try and get your front leg to a 90 degrees. So maybe last time I held you back a little, see if you can go down. But remember to keep your knee just over your ankle, not beyond. Focus on your hip. Now the same rotation is here too. So you do have to turn from your right hip to the left, right side to the chest. So you can stamp your leg and go down. Now inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Toes pointing straight, chest open. Turn your left leg. So again, rotating the knee, the foot, the thigh, turning your right toes in, keeping your hips level, taking a deep inhale and bending the leg. As you go down deep, again, lowering your hips down, but not turning your hips. In fact, the hip has to learn to turn from the left, lifting up to the right, the left side of the chest to the right. Keep both shoulders back so your chest is facing forward and descend your hips down. Remember to keep the knee back. We also learned this movement, remember? In Trikonasana, the knee goes back, but not the hip back. The hip stays forward as you go down. Now come up, turn your toes in, spread your arms, jump, and come back. Observe the breath again. Spread the bottom of the feet, shift the weight to the heels, taking your outer shoulders back, stretching from the upper arms down to the elbows, lifting from the base of the sternum upward, head back. Now let's do the whole pose with the arms stretched out. So let's bring the hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Virabhadrasana 2. Turn your right knee, right thigh, right foot out. Turn your left toes a little bit in. Keep the weight on the heels. Take a deep inhale, stamping into the outer edge of the heel. Bend your front leg. Go down. See if you can get that front leg to be a 90-degree angle. But keep the hip facing forward, chest facing forward. Stretch your arms. And now only turn your head to look at your right fingertips. Keep your left leg firm, shifting the weight to both your heels. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Reset your feet so they're in line. Chest open. Turn your entire left knee, left thigh, left foot. Turn your right toes slightly in. Keep the weight heavy on the heels. Inhale as you exhale, going down. Again, lowering the hips, keeping the hip facing forward, chest facing forward, and only turn your your head to look towards your left fingertips. As you go down, you have to watch the knee doesn't go beyond your ankle. Be strong on your right heel. Press it. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Jump and walk your legs back. Pause in Uttanasana one more time. Take a couple of breaths, bringing your big toes close, shoulders back, elbows extending down, smooth, steady inhale, and smooth, steady exhale. Now we have to do Utthita Parsvakonasana. So at least by now you should be knowing these three poses quite well. Actually 4. Uttanasana, Trikonasana, Virabhadrasana 2, and Utthita Parsvakonasana. So let's go for Utthita Parsvakonasana. I'm going to take 2 blocks here. So placing the blocks behind, standing on the center of the mat, taking your shoulders back, bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs. Stretch your arms from the center of the chest, toes pointing straight. Now once more, turn your right knee, right thigh, right foot out. Turn your left toes in. Keep the waist facing forward, stretching through the arms. Take a deep inhale, coming down to Virabhadrasana 2. Now lengthen. We did this in Trikonasana. It's kind of a combination of these 2 poses. And you can place your hand down. Let's bring the hand on the hip. What did we learn in Trikonasana? How to turn that shoulder, because that affects the chest. So the more you take your shoulder back, the chest starts facing forward. As you go down, you can place your hand on the block. You can even have a position where you have the hand here. It helps you to actually move the knee back, like we did in Vrksasana, but our hip forward. So the hip turns, the chest turns, the head back, the shoulder back. Now keeping the back leg firm, you can stretch your arm alongside your body, giving the side a good stretch. If your hip is lifting, go down a little bit more, press into the outer edge of the heel. Now use the top arm, inhale and come up. Bring your hands down. I'm going to move the block. Turn your toes in. In fact, I'm going to prepare by bringing the block in front, because there are many ways we can use the block. Sometimes the block behind is useful. Sometimes the block in front is also useful. For now, since we've done that version a few times, we work on the block in front. Toes pointing straight. Spread your arms out from the center of the chest. Looking straight. Turn your entire left knee, left thigh, left foot out. Turn your right toes in. Keep the weight heavy on the heels. Taking a deep inhale, go down. And now from here, remember we are elongating, but don't forget turning your waistline, turning your chest. As you go down as low as you can. You can place your hand on the block. Press your hand so you have a little support. You can even change the height depending on what you need, right? So you have to listen to your body. What you have to watch out for is your chest shouldn't be facing forward. So take the height appropriate for you so that you can turn your abdomen, turn your chest, work with the right shoulder. Take your right shoulder back. Bring the muscles back into the spine as you turn. And now you can stretch your right arm. Rotating the arm, stretching, keeping your right knee straight. Press into the right heel. Lower your left hip down. Move the left arm into the knee to move the knee back. But rotate your hip, your chest. Stretch. Now inhale, use the top arm and come up. Whew, I'm sure it's a bit of hard work, right? Okay, let's bring our hands down. I'm just going to move the blocks a little bit. And jump and come back. See, the good advantage of watching a video is that you can pause anytime and no one's really watching, right? So you can do it at your own pace. You can even pause and just rewind and watch a section of the class maybe you didn't understand. So that's the kind of good thing about having a recorded video. I don't think this was even available years before. But yeah, we have that advantage. So pause for a moment, taking your shoulders back, elbows straight, knees straight. So our joints are very important. We want to be firm on the joint because it links, like the elbow joint links the upper arm and the forearm. So if you work on extending the joint, along with it, you can work on the shoulder. Similarly, the knee joint is the connection point between the thigh bone, the shin bone, and we can already see the thigh is attached to the hip and the shin is attached to the foot. So how we work these intermediate joints affects a lot of our body. So for a moment, take a moment to stand, take your shoulders back, elbows straight, shifting the weight to the heels, taking a couple of recovery breaths here, smooth inhale and exhale. So the next pose that we are going to learn today, which is again new, is just the turning action of Virabhadrasana 1. So let's bring our hands at the center of the chest, bend your knees and jump and spread your legs out, similar to the previous poses. But now we are going to turn the upper arms, creating a kind of rotation of the upper arms, have the palms facing up and use the arms to really lift the sides of the chest up. So maintain the lifting action of the arms, taking your upper arms back, and now turning towards your right. So turn your right knee out completely, turn your left toes 60 degrees in, and then keeping the heel firm, turn your left hip to the right, turn the left shoulder forward and take your right shoulder back. See that the weight is heavy on your left heel, lengthen both sides of the upper arms, and like you did in Urdhva Hastasana, and see if you can keep moving your upper arms behind your ears. If you're a little tighter in the shoulders, that will not be possible. So for the moment, you can lift the sides of the body up higher and higher with the help of the arms. We are not bending the leg, which is the full pose, but we are teaching ourselves this turning of the hip from the back of the thigh and keeping the weight even on both our feet. Now keep the arms lifted, start to turn your hip, your chest, turn your foot in. You can always take your hands down, as I said. For now, I'm going to keep the lift and length of the upper arms, lifting the torso up, and then turn the left leg out completely. Once the left leg has turned, then turn your right toes in 60 degrees, turning from the back of your right thigh, turning the right hip forward, right shoulder forward, and lift and stretch your arms up. Lifting the torso, especially the front. This is an important part. I need to point this out. The front hip is not dropping. In fact, the torso has to lift away from the legs. And that's how we can use the arms. Be steady on both your legs, but turn your hip, turn your chest. Now turn yourself to face forward, turn your toes in, take your hands out to the side, jump and walk your legs back in. Pause. Taking a couple of breaths, rolling the shoulders back, elbows straight, smooth, steady inhale, and smooth, steady exhale. Next pose is Utkatasana. So just like we lifted our arms up in Virabhadrasana 1, let's stretch and lift the arms up, lifting and lengthening the sides of the torso up with the help of the upper arms. Now keep the lift of the chest, lift of the arms, and start to bend your knees. As you bend your knees, you want to make sure the weight stays on the heels. Go down, lowering your hip. But again, in the previous pose, we said we don't want the front of the hip to collapse. So we want to keep lifting up and lifting the torso up and still bending. So there are these two opposite forces. Take your arms back, chest up. Inhale and come up. Take your hands down. I'm going to turn around the side view and let's do Utkatasana from the side. Inhale, lift and stretch your arms up. Keep lifting, lengthening the sides of the body. As you lower your hips can go back. Though it goes back, don't throw your hips back. You want your hip to kind of stay close, as if you're lowering down close to the back of your thighs and lifting and stretching your arms up. Keep the weight on the heels, lift the front of the hip, move the knees back into the hip. Inhale and come up and take your hands down. Relax, turn around and face forward. We are going to revisit Parsvottanasana, which we have learned in the last 2 weeks. However, the hands are going to be different here. So it's Baddha, Mani, Hasta. That means the hand position is you hold your wrist, and that helps you to actually take your shoulders back. So that moves the dorsal spine in. So that's the hand position. So we're going to keep our hands holding the wrist. Let's go ahead and spread our legs out. Toes pointing straight. Shift the weight to the heels, turning to the right side. So again, turning your entire right leg out to 90. Turn your left toes 60 degrees. Stamp the outer edge of the heel. Keep the legs grounded. Start to turn from the back of your left thigh, turning the hips, turning the chest. Keep the elbows rolling back, dorsal spine in, head back. Now maintaining the lift of the chest, go forward from the pelvis. Keep the legs straight. Keep pointing the elbows up towards the ceiling. Press into the heels and turn this time from your left waistline to your right, gazing at your right big toe. If you are open and your back is not rounding or the front of your abdomen is not closing, you can go down with your head. And though the head goes up, keep the shoulders back, elbows pointing up to the ceiling, and gaze forward. Press the back leg. Now pressing into the legs, inhale and come up. Turn your toes forward. You can change the clasp of the hand. So whichever hand where you were holding, you can change the grip of the wrist. Again, lifting the side armpit chest, taking the shoulders back, elbows back, moving the back of the body in, the dorsal spine in, turning to your left. So turn your left knee, left thigh, left foot out. Turn your right toe 60 degrees. See that the weight is heavy on the heels. Start to revolve your pelvis, revolve your chest. Keep the legs firm. Elbows back, chest back, head back. Keep the rotation of the pelvis, both legs straight as you go down from the hip. Again, both legs remain straight. Only go so much as you're able to keep the legs straight and your weight is on the heels. Now start to turn your abdomen, turn your chest. You can let your belly go down, your chest go down, and gaze towards your left big toe. At the same time, be firm on the right heel, both legs straight. Shoulders back, elbows up. Now pressing into the heels. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes or turn your chest forward. Relax your hands and jump and bring your legs back. So the next one is Uttanasana. And here our hand position would be, we are holding our elbows. Because in that way, and if you're a little tighter on the shoulders, you can always hold a little closer to the wrist. So the main idea being that when you clasp your elbows, once more, the arms are a gateway to the sides of the torso, especially the rib cage, which can be very tight for a lot of us. But through the help of the arms, we can give it a good stretch. Now we're going to do Uttanasana. So Uttanasana, I'm going to show you the side view. You can keep your feet apart, toes pointing straight like you're doing Tarasana. Now maintain the elongation of your spine without bending the legs from the hip. As you notice, all our work is from the hip. Keep the upper arms long. If you are tighter in the hamstrings, you can just stay here. Otherwise, if you're able to go down, keep the front body long as you extend down. Keep extending the sides of the body. Let the crown of your head go downward, but don't move your head towards your abdomen. That causes the back to round. So keep the frontal body long, stretch your arms. You have to work your legs here. Now here too, it's a similar action we've been doing. The back of your thighs, see if you can turn that muscle. At the same time, keep your outer hips firm. Release your head. Stretch the sides of your body by using the upper arms, lengthening the sides of the body. Observe the breath, abdomen soft. And again, please do not shorten the front of your body. Sometimes it kind of gives you a catch in the diaphragm. So make the front body long. The front of the spine has to stay lengthening. You can change the grip of your hands. And again, lengthen the sides of the body, legs straight. Thighs pulling up, like in Tadasana. Now looking forward. If your back is a little sensitive, bring your hands on the hip, legs firm, look forward, press into the legs, and come up. So we've been doing standing poses one after another. So now we are going to finish off the sequence with Ardha Halasana. So I think you've already done it last week. If not, there's also a separate video on how to set up Ardha Halasana. I'm not going to go into the details of the pose, but I'm going to just set up and you can set up with me. If, again, I have given a choice, if this pose is not for you, if you have any neck issue, and especially if you're menstruating. If you're menstruating, then do not do this pose. And you can just be like this for a while in Baddha Konasana. That could be an option for somebody who is not doing Ardha Halasana as well. And once we finish Ardha Halasana, you can join in for the next pose. You can just stay here while we finish with Ardha Halasana. If you are going to do Ardha Halasana, then as I said, you will need to measure. You will need maybe 3 blankets or 2, whatever is possible for you, and place them close. So I open my blankets. I see that the rounded side of the blanket is facing the direction my neck is going to be placed. And I will also do a short measurement. I think this should be okay for me. So if I sit, my buttock, I think I need to take it a little bit back. So this middle of my thigh, sitting bone. So again, if you divide your thigh into 3 sections, that is resting on the blanket. Now turn yourself around. You can move your hairband, whatever is necessary. Please note, I am lifting the back of the head, keeping it on the mat, holding the sides of the mat a little bit so that my outer shoulders get pinned down. So I'm quite sure that this upper arm, the dorsal spine is lifted. I can bend my knees and I can roll and take my legs up. Once I'm up, I walk my legs down, lift the spine, holding your back. Strongly lift the back of the thighs. We worked on this. Lifting your spine, hold the pose. Press your elbows, lift the spine. If you feel you can take your feet down, you can take your feet down. But if this causes stress, keep your legs higher up, resting against the wall. You're going to hold this for a few minutes. Soft, smooth inhale and soft, smooth exhale. Occasionally, roll your upper arms, see that your shoulders stay down, and lift your back. Lift the back of your knees. Now slowly hold your back. Start to bend your knees. Use your core slightly and come down and rest here. Now start to roll yourself to the side. Next is Paschimottanasana. So it's a cooling pose. We're finishing the practice, and you can use the same blanket set, and you can move it. I'm going to show you two options actually. So if you are able to go forward with ease, then you can be sitting on a slightly higher height. Stretch your arms up, lengthening the torso, go down. You can hold your feet, let your head go down. Paschimottanasana. Lengthening, letting your head go down, keeping the arms a little bit more passive, but keeping your legs straight. Now, what if this is not possible and you are tighter on the hamstrings? Then just to quieten our mind, our body, to cool off at the end of the practice, you can do a slightly different variation. One is, as I showed you, on the chair. So basically, I'm not getting the chair again, but you can just let your head rest on the chair with the legs straight. So that way, the back is long, the front of the body is long. And you can always check the video where I placed my head on the chair. Now, if there's another option, and it's not technically Paschimottanasana, but you can sit with your legs crossed. I'm just giving you certain variations. So you can also let your head rest on the wall. And it gives you a quietening pose, letting your forehead rest. Basically, a position where your head can rest and you can bring yourself back into a quieter mind space. Because though we spend a lot of time energizing the body, the main reason we practice yoga is to get into this quieter, calmer mind state at the end of our practice. Now slowly release, come up. And the next pose is also a new pose called Setubandh Sarvangasana. So there are many ways to do the pose. So for today, I'm going to show you two options and you can do the pose accordingly. If you have props in your house, that means you have bolsters, then you can use two bolsters. If you don't have bolsters, then you can also use a block. I'll show you what method one, which involves a block and a belt. Or not, so method one. So I'm going to take the blankets out. Setubandh Sarvangasana with a block. So first I need to show you a wooden block is ideal. However, if you don't have a wooden block, a normal block will do. So this is the end of the block, and the position of the block is such that it's resting on your sacrum. Yeah, so this is the position. I'm showing you because it might be difficult for you to observe otherwise. The way we go into the pose in a very simple way is like this. You lie down on your back and you lift your hips up and you move the block so it supports the buttocks. And then we can keep the chest open. So what's important in the pose, couple of things, is the chest shouldn't be sinking. This is a sinking chest. So I can hold the sides of the mat, roll the outer shoulders, and really feel that the lift of the chest is maintained. Another thing is important, that your bottom shouldn't be lower than your lumbar spine. So this is my lumbar spine. And if this is high and the buttock is dropping, you have to work on two things. You have to move the tailbone in. Yeah, so as I move the tailbone in, because that's what the block is teaching us, then this lower spine gets extended. Otherwise, it becomes a painful pose. So you can stay in this position, moving lengthening the buttocks, moving the tailbone in, and keeping the shoulders down. Now you can stay in the pose if this was easy. Now what if you can't lift yourself up as high as the block? I'm going to show you another variation. Now to come up also, it's important to see that you press into the feet, lift your buttocks up as I slowly move the block away. It's my middle back, my upper back, middle back, lengthening the buttocks, I go down. Now, supposing I cannot lift my hips up. That's how much I can lift my hips. That's very possible. So again, Iyengar yoga is good. Now, it's not that just because you lift your buttocks, you stay here, because the chest is still collapsing. And in this pose, we want our chest to stay open. So the other option is you can get a height of some sort. You can put your legs up on the chair, but that's not a supported version. So if you had two other blocks, so you have two blocks. So I'm going to get another block. So I have two more blocks. So I can keep my two blocks underneath for my feet. I take the other wooden block for my back. I'm just showing you some variations. So I place my feet on this block. I keep this block ready. I come quite close. Same thing. I roll the outer shoulders. I press my heels, start to lift my buttocks, and because my feet are higher, my buttock can lift. Now still, maybe it's just a little bit. So you can lift your heels. So I press my toes and I get a bit more lift. Then I can put the block underneath and stay here for a few moments, letting my chest open, buttocks moving in, being in the pose. Today we'll just do the bent knee version. I'm also going to show you a straight leg version later. So here again, rolling the inner upper arms out, keeping the chest open, tailbone moving in, pressing into the legs, and do watch that the knees don't go out to the side. You want to keep your knees in line. And observe the breath, breathing into the chest. Now you can stay in this pose for up to 3 minutes or 5 minutes. But for today, we are going to come down. So again, as I showed you, please press into the feet, lift your buttocks up, move the block out very slowly, upper back, middle back, buttocks going down. Stay quiet for a few moments. If you feel any reaction of your lower back, then don't do it. Just stay there. And now you can roll to the side and you can set up for your Shavasana. So be on the center of your mat. Keep your knees bent, lengthening the tailbone. Roll the inner upper arms out. Lift the back of your head, placing it. Release the legs out, right side, left side. And let go in Shavasana. Be here as long as you wish, letting your mind and body settle. Relax your jaw, relax your throat, relax your face. Now, slowly, we're going to come out. You can stay as long as you wish. Let's bend our right leg, our left leg. Bring your hands one by one on your abdomen. Gently roll yourself to the side. And then use your left hand, press into the floor, inhale, and come up. Okay? Now, I have been posting these up, and a few thoughts came to my mind, so I'm going to share them. So, of course, you can follow along with the video. However, you can also use this video as a reference to kind of look back and say, okay, I really don't understand the pose, and you can look at that section of the pose and learn it. I've also made these separate videos so that you have a kind of catalog of all the poses to refer to. And usually in the description, I always include a PDF with just the sequence with the photos. So you don't need to follow the video. If you know your practice already, you can simply download that, take a printout, or just place it close to your phone and follow your own sort of rhythm and just go through the sequence yourself. So these videos are made in a way so that you have a reference, because if you don't have a teacher showing you how to do the pose and you're practicing on your own, then what happens is you have this reference material and say, oh, how did Setubandh Sarvangasana, how is that done? And maybe by just listening to the instructions again, you get it. So as I said, it's not necessary you follow the video long, but you can use this as your guide and modify it to suit your practice, whichever way works for you. And wishing you a great day or evening, wherever you are. And may we all grow in this beautiful practice of yoga. Namaste.